Welcome to the second sew along for our bucket totes. Let me get the pattern to show you. Ta-da! So I did have a look and double check, and we are doing the strap today. So yay! I was right yesterday. And tomorrow we're going to do the outer of the bag. We're going to sew the outside of the bag, and I like doing that because then it gives you something to look at, something to keep you motivated while you sew the lining. So a couple of people asked to see the view of the mountain. That distracts me, so here it is. And this is the view from outside of my studio window. And as you can see, that is quite distracting. And then at the bottom, that's our garden. We painted our garden gate pink last week because, well, we've been meaning to paint it since the garden was landscaped, and we only had pink paint under the stairs. And I don't think going to buy paint is an essential trip at the moment during isolation. So we painted it pink. Why not? And also, I just have to show you, my family are definitely trying to make me fat because I've got a chocolate Easter egg nest cake thing. Although it's got shredded wheat in it, which is very good fibre. And there's eggs, obviously they're chocolate eggs, but still they're eggs, so it's protein. So that's what I've got. But today we are going to sew the strap, and we'll do the strap tabs, and I'll go over a little bit of the stabilisers that we didn't manage to do yesterday. I'm just going to put my cake back here. Okay, so I'm going to turn you around. Hold on, I'm going to turn you around and flip you around, and hopefully this will be fine, and then you'll face the right way for doing the sewing. So there we go. Oh, there's the messy bit of the studio. There we go. I don't know why I don't put you in place first and then turn you around. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to try and be a little bit better about seeing any comments today. I do have my Welsh socks on today. I don't know if anybody can see them. Probably not, but if you see them, just being very patriotic. Got my Welsh socks on. Okay, so let's look at the stabilisers yesterday that we didn't quite get to. So the main panel, I interfaced my fabric, which is the purple fabric, the Essex linen. I interfaced that. And then I basted it onto the stabiliser. That's the foam stabiliser. I basted it at 1/4 of an inch because my seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch. And then I trimmed it away, as you can see, from the seam allowance. Then I added my ultra firm, the body stabiliser, or the bag stabiliser. This is the S520 that I showed you yesterday. It's very firm. It's fused on there. If you haven't got fusible, then you can glue it or something. It's best not to put it under the foam because you will see a little line on the outside of the bag. Okay, so that is how the main panel looks now. It's all fully stabilised. It's got its corset, it's got its, I don't know, vest, and the nice outer clothes. Okay, I know you love my descriptions. If you're watching, tell us where you are, tell us how you're doing. It is the 231st of March in the year 2020 forever, and we are all still just coping, I guess. Although most of us are home safe, so that is a bonus. If you are not home safe, if you're out working, if you're out as a key worker, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, so this is my base. So I've got this faux leather for my base, metallic faux leather. I bought this from So Hot. It's really lovely to work with. It's got this sort of, it's not too thick, and it's got backing. And I transferred my triangles from the pattern piece, and I fused my base stabiliser onto that. Okay. Obviously, if you're using a quilting cotton, you would interface this before you add your base stabiliser. And then what we do with this one is the opposite. We sandwich the stabiliser in between the fabric and the faux stabiliser. So let me move you over slightly so you can see what I'm doing at the sewing machine. There we go. I've got my extension table on, which helps. But you just pop that. So it's already been, had the stabiliser added to it. Pop that on. And if it wasn't faux leather, I would pin it, but it is faux leather, so I'm not going to pin it. So I'll just show you how I based around. And I use a Janome HD9, which is a super, super powerful machine. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it so much. But I'm not quite ready to get rid of my comfort blanket of my walking foot. So even though I don't need my walking foot on this machine because it's incredibly strong, I still use it. So, oh, hang on a second. You're probably at a funny angle there. There we go. Didn't really know about the angles on Facebook Lives until I watched Chester Zoo last week. And they filmed the giraffes sideways. We had to, or at an angle, and we had to hold the phone at a funny angle to watch them. So, right, so I've increased my seam allowance to number 6, and this is a oval. So I'm starting with my needle down. And I'm just going to sew at 1/4 inch seam allowance because my seam allowance for the bag is 3/8 inch. So this basting will get hidden in between the seams. And this is about as slow as this machine goes. It's really, it can really run away with you because it's so fast and powerful. But even though I've been using it for, I don't know, it's got to be coming up to a year soon, I still have it on the slowest speed setting. I think that's why I like my walking foot, just a bit of extra stability. Okay, and I measure my 1/4 inch seam allowance on the inside of the walking foot edge. I don't know if you can see that there. Or if you've got a 1/4 inch foot or some kind of fancy quilting thing, some kind of fancy quilting foot, that would work really well. So that's that basted on, as you can see. And then and inside there is the base stabiliser. It's really quite nice and firm in there, which is good. So then to trim away the excess from the seam allowances, this just reduces bulk. I turn it over and I hold it at a sort of an angle, pull it upright basically, and I trim along there with my scissors as close as I can to the seam or the basting stitches. And if you go through a couple, it's all right. It's not gonna, not gonna affect things really, but try not to go through too many. Otherwise you'll have nothing holding it into place. If I didn't reply to your comment or your question yesterday, please do tag me. Ask it again today. I've got my eye on the live video today, so in theory I should catch them. Lizzie, who usually goes through and catches all the comments and the queries, she's really poorly still. She's got, well, we think she's probably got the Rona, but of course they're not testing unless you're seriously ill in hospital at the moment. So we're just kind of going on her symptoms, but so she's off sick at the moment. So if I have missed your questions or your comments, please do tag me or remind me that you're waiting. So that's the base ready. All the stabilizer is added. So that's nice and firm. My outer panels are stabilized. So on the base, the firm stabilizer is sandwiched between the foam and the fabric, and on the main panels, it's underneath the foam. Okay, so let's do the strap. Give me some kind of reaction if you hate sewing your strap, or if you love sewing your strap. I don't know, maybe you love sewing straps. Maybe you like the straight lines. I don't know. If you love them, maybe give me a heart. Maybe if you hate them, anything else, any kind of reaction that shows me how you feel about straps. If it was me, I would be doing a big fat thumbs down. I hate sewing straps. I get really bored with straps. Okay. Oh, I'm not the only one. And this one's quite a long one. This one's a 54-inch strap, but it converts from being a shoulder strap to a crossbody strap. Whoever it was that put that reaction for a love heart, I'm going to send you all my straps for you to make for me. So as you can see here on the pattern, at this point I would usually have a sample to show you, but they're all in the storage unit. Although I did find out today that the storage unit is still open for... because they've got racks and racks of medical supplies in the warehouse. So they are staying open for the medical supplies, but closed to the public. So I can't show you a sample because I don't have it with me. We'll do hopefully by Friday or maybe Friday afternoon. But this strap is attached here on the front and then the opposite on the back. So it's sort of diagonal across the back. And when it's doubled up like this, when it's... you've got both parts of the strap doubled up. That's short enough to wear as a shoulder bag. And if you want to wear it as a crossbody bag, you just leave one of the sides go, pull one side up, and then that's long enough to wear as a crossbody bag. And it sits comfortably on your hip then. Lynn has put some pictures in the group of her bag that she's made this week. I don't know how she does it. She just looks at fabric and it magically becomes a bag, but of her wearing it in both ways as a shoulder bag and as a crossbody bag. But so that's the length of this one. And yesterday, if you were watching, you'll know I didn't really know what fabric I was going to use for my strap, but I've decided to use my lining fabric, which is this coated cotton, metallic coated cotton from Sew Hot. This is a waterproof fabric, but it's got a really nice soft canvasy feel to it, and it's got a nice sheen. And I didn't interface my lining fabric yesterday for my lining because I didn't feel it needed it. It was strong enough. But for my strap, I have interfaced it because the whole weight of your belongings, of your personal possessions are going to be in this bag. You don't want to risk that to stretching or the strap breaking or anything. So just for a little bit of added strength, I've added some interfacing, and I've used non-woven interfacing, which, as I told you yesterday, is my favourite. This is the F220 from Vilene. They've recently, we found out at the trade show, but all of their non-woven interfacings are now completely 100% made from recycled plastics. And they're working on some new fancy, I can't even remember, some new fancy way of creating new fabrics that can be recycled over and over again or can break down without damaging the environment at all. So if you're interested in that, go onto the Vilene website or Viseline website and have a look at their sustainability policy. I just love the fact that they're making steps to make things more eco-friendly. So I've interfaced my strap and it's really long, which is why you can't see it. But it is, I promise I didn't cheat. It is the full length because I figured I'd probably need it for another day. And if I cheated, you'd find out tomorrow. And I've interfaced it and I've just folded it along the centre line and then folded each side into the centre. So a regular 4-fold strap like this, and I've ironed it. If you're using faux leather, you probably are not going to want to iron it. You probably want to draw a line down the centre and then fold your fabrics in and fold your edges in. Leave it overnight, maybe folded and clipped just to help train it. What we are going to do then is get your rectangle rings, and I've chosen gunmetal for the outer, and I say that because I've got silver nickel for the magnetic snap and the key hook because isolation. So yeah, so I'm going to pop my rings on the strap. Now, I haven't sewn this at all. This is literally just folded. Okay, and if they've got a right side, so these ones have got a right side, you can see it's slightly curved. So if they've got a right side, pop them right sides together. Okay, so both of my rings are curved sides together there. Okay, I can hear some really loud, wild laughing from downstairs, so I apologise if you can hear that. It's probably a hamster video, which seems to be the cool thing at the moment. So, right, so that you can see this, I've got my strap and it's not twisted. and my rings are on there, and then I'm just matching it right sides together, and I'm going to open it out completely. Just double check the pattern, because if I don't double check the pattern, I'll tell you something wrong and then you'll all be laughing at me. Not that you would laugh at me, of course, because you're a lovely, lovely, lovely bunch in here. But so let's open the strap out and open the strap out and just match the short ends right sides together. Okay, I'm going to pin that and then I'll show you from the other angle so you can see. Oh, hang on. There we go. Okay. So in theory, matching fold lines. And thank you for not commenting on the fact that my nails are not perfectly styled, because my beauty salon is also closed because it's not essential travel, obviously. And I don't think having pretty nails is more important than saving lives, but it took me 2 hours to soak off my nails. So I think those ladies deserve every penny I pay them, really. Right, so here we go. So I've got my rings and they are right sides facing. They are on my strap that hasn't been sewn. It's not twisted at all. It's opened out and pinned right sides together. Okay. Ta-da! Okay, so now I'm going to sew across the end here with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, which is our regular seam allowance. Okay. Oh, first I'm going to change back down from a basting stitch. Very important. Obviously you would have done that. And remember to, you know, reverse at the start and end just to be sure. Okay, phew. Didn't catch that. Okay, good. So let's take these pins out. Pop them back in my pot. I think this pot looks a little bit like a coffin, don't you think? Makes pins look a little bit more rock and roll. A little coffin of pins. Okay, so now that that is sewn, I would usually pop over to the ironing board and press it. But I'm not going to. Just refold it back into its original folds. Okay, and then fold that up again. So we're back in our original 4-fold strap, but this time you've got a loop, okay, with the rings on there. So now as we sew the strap, we'll just sew along the open end to close it. And as we come to those rings, we'll just move them out of the way as we go all the way around the let's go all the way around the strap. Okay. Now you can do this. You don't have to do this for just a long strap. You could do this method for short handles as well, or, you know, whatever it is that you are sewing, if you just want it fully enclosed. Okay, so let's get sewing. And I might be playing bobbin chicken here, or bobbin roulette, but it just adds an extra element of excitement to my video, doesn't it? Right, there we go. So pop that under, and I am using a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance here, and I measure that up on the inside edge of my walking foot, just along there. See, I think this is why I like my walking foot, because it's got all these handy edges. And I'm going to start with my needle down, so that as I go around the strap, it will stop with me. If you want to go and make a cup of tea, this is the perfect time. And I would offer you a chocolate Easter nest cake, but unfortunately I only brought the one up with me. hate sewing straps. So if you want to come back and watch this video again when you are sewing your own strap, that you know, you're very welcome to. If you're watching and you're working from home, you're not even sewing, you're just here for the company, that's also fine, because we all have to do what we got to do to get through this time, haven't we? And who knows, I might do something really funny and embarrassing. Might also sew in a straight line one day. Here we go. So I'm coming back up to my rings. So just going to move them down and out the way again. Keep moving them around. Okay. There we go. So that's one side done. That's the open side done. And I'll just trim those little threads. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to sew along the other side in exactly the same manner. And I should, to stop bubbling and twisting, I should sew it from the same direction. No, hang on, from there. I was nearly sewing thin air then, wasn't I? But I'm not going to. I'm going to turn it round because I'm a creature of comforts and I like sewing on that side. Okay, so let's go. If you see me sewing without any bobbin thread, give me a shout, okay? Back round to the start. Okay, so now I've got a continuous loop of a strap. If you've got an extension table for your machine and you've got the space to put it out, I would encourage you to use it for bag making. Just supports things off the edge of your machine, and if you can handle having a flatbed, not having a free arm, then just stick your extension table on. As you're sewing these bulkier items, it just supports the weight of the fabric and the length of the strap. So here is my strap. It's all in one loop. Don't know how to show you. See if I can lift you a bit higher. There we go. Okay, so it's all in one go with the rings attached. We're gonna attach the strap tabs to those. So this will be the length of your handles when you're wearing it as a shoulder bag, and it's quite a generous strap, and the curve will just help it to sit nicely under your arm, especially if you've got a bulky coat on, or you are blessed with a little bit of extra cuddle space like me. It will just give you a really nice, comfortable feeling bag. Okay, so that is our strap, and for once I've done it without procrastinating, which I think deserves a round of applause for myself. Well done me. Okay, so now let's do the strap tabs, and I did cut them out yesterday from the purple Essex linen, but I changed my mind and went with the same colour as the strap, although I still might change it back when I come to make my outer tomorrow, who knows. So these are cut 2 inches by 2 inches, and we are not folding them into 4 folds. So instead of folding in half and then folding into centre, I've drawn a line down the centre there and folded each side into the middle. So then from the front it looks lovely and neat, but on the back you can see that it's into the centre. Okay, and then secure each side into place by sewing down each long edge. And the way I do this, I don't sew it on the back side, I do sew it on the front. And if you've got it nicely pressed and something like a nice little walking foot, then it will hold it into place while you sew it. Let's see, there we go. So again, with a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, just whiz along each side. And if you're doing a whole bag, you could do both of these together. So you could do one and then feed the other one in behind and then swap them around. Or if you're making a few bags, you could just do one long line. You could do one long strip that is the same width and then cut them up into portions afterwards. Okay. There we go. So there's my 2 strap tabs. And all we need to do to finish the strap is thread these through the rings on the end. So remember, if you've got a right side, that will need to be up for this. So mine has got a curve to it, as you can see there-ish. And you just thread that through, and usually I would sew as close as I can to the rectangle ring, and I would swap over to my adjustable presser foot for that. Yeah, I will. I'll show you that actually, because I really love my adjustable presser foot. So in bag making, the only 2 feet that I use are a walk-in foot, which I've got on the machine at the moment, and it's the one with the sort of bulky heel on it. See if you can see it like that, because it just gives you a little bit of extra stability and helps the fabric move at the same pace on the top and the bottom. And the other foot I use is the adjustable zip foot, or adjustable piping foot, and it goes on the machine like this. And your needle, you can decide where your needle hits, but I have my needle to hit just inside that little dip there. Let me try and angle this so you can see. Is it going to focus? There we go. So I have my needle to hit just inside of that little dip. This is really hard doing it close up. There we go. Okay. Ta-da! Ish. Okay, let's just assume that that was all in focus and you knew what I was talking about. So your needle will go in there, that little hole. That means that you can line up your fabric with the edge of this foot, and your needle will always sew straight down the line. So for example, on this strap tab, as I'm sewing that, I can line up the edge of the foot, and my needle will sew as close to that ring as possible without having the bulky back bit of the foot to contend with. You know, like on most zip feet, it's got this like heel either side, hasn't it? Which is really awkward to sew with. So I'll swap that over in my machine, and then I'll see if I can change the camera angle so you can see as I'm sewing. To set it, you just undo this screw at the back, lower your presser foot with it on, and just move it left or right. You know, sort of lift up your presser foot slightly, move it left or right until you're happy that the needle's hitting in the right place, and then tighten that screw again. So let's take my walking foot off. And this machine, it's got sort of semi-industrial elements. The hook race and the bobbin, etc., is industrial. It's got some kind of industrial ball bearing-y type thing. So the walking foot on this one, you do have to take the screw out completely to get the walking foot off. So move you over. Hang on. Might be able to lower you down a bit. There we go. And I'm sorry if anybody's feeling dizzy right now. There we go. That's a little bit better, isn't it? So with this foot I'm just going to pop it onto the shank there. And then fiddle around a bit, trying to get the screw in. And then, there we go. See? First time. I hope these videos are useful to you. Please tell me if they're not. Don't want to waste your time. But hopefully they are, and you can pick up some of the good habits I've got, not some of the bad habits I've got. So, as you can see, my needle just goes down directly on the edge of the foot there. Okay. Okay, so as I sew that tab, I'll be able to get as close as possible. Oh, helps to lift your needle back up again. There we go. Thought I'd developed a fault then. Okay, so pop your fabric under. And I usually sew forwards and then reverse back a little bit. And then sew again. So in the end, you've got 3 rows of stitching. And because I haven't got a locking stitch on my machine, I just do 1 or 2 extra reverse stitches, lift my foot and cut. So as you can see, that is really, really close to the ring. There, that is not going to swivel very easily once it's on your bag. That's why we all love triangle rings, isn't it? Because they don't swivel when you're carrying your bag. Not that we can carry our bags anywhere at the moment. Although I did think maybe Elvis needs a handbag to carry all her toys back upstairs at the end of the night. She's she loves her stuffed animals, and you know she's a only child, and so she feels very hard done by that she hasn't got any siblings to play with. Although I think if she actually did have some siblings to play with during isolation, she would be feeling very hard done by that she wasn't on her own, and she she had to share her toys and things. So she's got lots of stuffed friends, and she brings them downstairs with her to have breakfast. And they are, of course, her sisters, and they are twins. And yes, so she could probably do with a handbag in isolation. So that's one half of the that's one of the strap tabs done. I'll lift you up again so you can see a bit better. So all that we need to do then is make the second strap tab for that one, and that will be our strap completely done, and you can go and reward yourself with a cup of tea, unless you didn't finish the cutting out yesterday, in which case you probably need to go and finish that. I'm talking to myself here. So tomorrow we are going to sew the outer. We're going to sew the outer panels together, and we're going to add the oval base. The oval base does fit really nicely in. Shouldn't be too much of a struggle. If you're a beginner and that is scaring you a little bit, do watch it tomorrow, because that is just going to be it's going to be easy peasy. I've just realised that I've added extra stabiliser where I shouldn't. Who said I was the professional at this? Let me look. Base foam will be cut later. Yeah, see, I should have. Yeah, no, I do know what I'm talking about. See, I should have added foam. I obviously didn't add foam to this picture because then you wouldn't be able to see that the stabiliser was in it, obviously. Let's assume that, shall we? Okay, let's assume for the best, and it will be fine. So, if you haven't finished cutting out, finish your cutting out, and we'll be ready for tomorrow then. You can leave your lining pieces if you want until tomorrow, because we're only sewing the outer tomorrow. But by the end of tomorrow's live video, we'll have a good look at what our bag is going to look like when it's finished. It will give us something motivating to look at, something to look forward to finishing, and just a little bit of positivity, I think, while we're in isolation. So thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. And if you haven't already got the pattern and you want to buy it, it's on my website, www.mrs-h.com. It's reduced down to £5 at the moment. for its launch, which runs until the 10th of April. If you are not in the UK and you would like to buy any patterns from any British designer, now is the time, because our exchange rate is incredibly poor with the coronavirus pandemic at the moment. So if you would like to buy the pattern, buy it now while it's really cheap. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching, and let me know when you are ready with your straps. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.